What's going on, guys? Today I'm going to show you how we mix ink here. We use the Rutland IMS 3.0 ink mixing system. So this is a ink bucket that we keep on our shelf that we use regularly. So we're just going to come back and refill this, top it off. So I'm going to take you through the steps. So you can see over here we have all of our scoops and an extra one to kind of brush the extra ink off. And then we have all of our primary colors here. So we have red M3, violet, scarlet, yellow, green, floor magenta, floor lemon, blue number 1, floor violet, marine, floor red, blue number 2, black, and white. So with these colors, we're able to mix every single color in the Pantone book. So we go off the Pantone Coated series. So we're gonna come over here and show you what we're working with. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna put the bucket on the scale. Once it gets to the weight it is, we are going to tare it. So what tearing it means is we're just taking it to 0. So we're negating the weight of the bucket. So it's at 0 right now, okay? We're gonna come over here to our ink mixing system. And this is Aviant and Rutland's ink mixing system. So IMS 3.0 ink mixing system. So we're gonna come in here and you can zoom in on the screen. We're gonna type in the Pantone color that we wanna use. So this color is 269. So it's gonna come over here and it's gonna show us exactly what ink needs to be mixed to get that formula. So we wanna fill up, this is a gallon bucket. So to make sure we don't overflow it, we're gonna fill it up 0.75, so 3/4 of the way. So I'm just gonna come in here, under weight, we're gonna change this to gallons, and then the weight is gonna be 0.75. So if I changed it to 0.5, which would just be half a gallon, it would change the percentages in grams in here. So if you come and look at this screen right here, we're gonna put it to 0.75, and you're gonna see these grams. So these grams are what we are going to put in to the bucket to mix the ink. So first, we're gonna put in the largest amount. We're gonna put in floor violet for 2,789 grams. Okay, so we got floor violet here. We're gonna come over and we're gonna grab our spatulas. We're gonna bring our bucket over to our mixing platform. Okay. So there are a couple similar colors. So we want to make sure we got the floor violet and matches up floor violet here. All right, so we got 2,789 grams. Remember, the most important thing is you can always add more ink. It's very hard to subtract it once you've put it in there. Okay, 2,700. I'm just kind of rolling it here like you got spaghetti on your fork. and you want to keep it on there. Okay, so we're at 2,720. We need to get to 2,789. So this is where you want to be really careful of how much ink you put in there. And you can always add more. It's hard to take it away. Okay, so I'm at 755. We're going to 789. $786. All right. All right, so if you come over and look at the screen here, I went over by a little bit, okay? So we want to get to 2,789. And I'm at 2,790. So we just want to go in there, take a little bit out. Okay? And there we go. 2,789.74. We're right there, close enough. So we got our first color down. So we're just going to repeat the process. We're going to tear the scale, get it back to 0, and we're going to come over here and look at our second color. Our second color is violet M3, and we need 511 grams. So we're going to come over here, get our violet, bring it over. So I did exactly what I said not to do. You could always add more, it's hard to take out. So I went over, so we got to take some out again. So if you're taking some out, you want to make sure you only get that ink. You don't want to scrape another color and contaminate your spatulas or the ink mixing bucket. Okay, we're at 511.65. We're right there. Scrape all the excess off, and we're going to put this back in the hole. All right, we got the next color. Repeat the process. We're going to tear the scale. If you come over here, you look at it, we're pressing this little button that says tear. Okay? It's giving me an error code, but because it's already at 0. Next one, we got red. Red M3, we only need 241. There we go, 241.71. Same process over again. You can come here and look. We're going to press the tear button here, and it's going to take us to 0. Last color, we're going to change our gloves just to be a little bit more clean. And we're going to come in here, we're going to put 198 grams of white. So this white here we're using is a special white that is meant solely for the ink mixing system. Rutland and Aviant make a bunch of different whites. You got poly white, you got street fighter, you got cotton whites, and you have a plethora of whites in between. Silky cotton, a whole bunch of different ones. But this one is made for mixing ink. Okay, so we got it right here. We need 198 grams. Easier said than done. I went over again. All right, 198. All right, we're going to grab 2 spatulas. We're going to take our bucket off. And we're going to 0 out the scale. That's just taking it back to 0. Okay. We're going to come over here to our turnabout. Some people use like a hook that comes over, and you can just set it on here and it will stir itself. In my opinion, if you're trying to get a bucket done fast and you just want to do it, if you sit here and do it yourself, it's going to go a lot quicker, and you're going to get the ink mixed a lot better than if that thing just sits in there for a while. Okay. So what these do is this tightens it, so when you loosen these, and then you turn this table right here, and if you come and look at these, it's locking that. As when you're turning it, it's locking that bucket into place. So when you get that bucket tight, that's when you're going to tighten these outside hold downs, okay? And now we have a speed control of how fast we want it to spin, and then we have a clockwise and a counterclockwise. So we're going to start with moving it to clockwise here, and we got a good speed going. So we're going to stick one of our spatulas in and just start mixing it. You really want to get all the way down to the bottom so it mixes that first color we put in with all the other colors. Otherwise, you're going to have one color sitting at the bottom and just the ink on the top mixed. So you really want to get down to the bottom and scrape that ink off the bottom. Another thing you want to do is scrape the sides of the bucket. So I stop every once in a while and scrape the sides of the bucket. We want to make sure all that ink's getting into the center and mixed all the way through. So we're going through and we're scraping all the ink off the sides to make sure all the ink is getting mixed properly. You can also, while it's stopped here, really get to the bottom of that bucket and try to scrape that ink off the bottom. Okay? We're gonna go back to mixing. Now we're gonna switch it. Now we're gonna go counterclockwise. Switch it back, now we're going the other way. And one thing you also want to do is scrape off your spatula, because that will have some of those original colors on it. You want to make sure everything gets mixed properly. Okay? We're going to switch it up one more time, but before that, we're going to scrape the sides of the bucket again. Make sure we're getting all the way down to the bottom and getting all of that ink off and into the center of the bucket. Really get all the way to the bottom. We want to make sure none of that ink's still sitting down there. Just scrape across the bottom. So you got some of that white still stuck on the side. Make sure we're scraping off our spatulas. Once you're happy with the consistency and you think all the ink has been mixed consistently throughout, then you're done. Scrape all the excess off. Okay, and then undo it. And then we're gonna slap a new label on there. So you got Pantone number 269. We're gonna put a new label on there and we're gonna try to clean up the bucket a little bit, all right? So that's how you mix ink here, and I hope that helped. And it's a great way to make sure you're mixing the same exact ink every single time. You're weighing it out, you're checking with the recipe of exactly how to make it, and that's how you'll have better consistency when you're making ink for a job in 2024 and when you're making ink for a job in 2030. You want to keep that consistency throughout, and this is the best way to do it. Thanks, guys.